Hello, 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 and welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce, and I thought that I would come in today with a special broadcast to more in depth and more detail about the tragedy that occurred at NRG Stadium here in Houston during that Travis Scott concert that left 8 people dead and hundreds injured. Many are going to be pretty much scarred for life. Uh, the physical injuries, the mental injuries. So I think that it would have been, I guess it would have been irresponsible to not talk a little bit more about this tragedy. Uh, what happened? What is the fallout behind this tragedy, and how is that going to affect live events moving forward? Because there's always an opportunity for a learning experience, and this is a horrible learning experience, but there is something that can be taken from this tragedy. Hello, Davina. How are you today? Yeah. So without wasting much time, I'm gonna go first into what happened. And as we've heard over these past few days, that it started off as just your run of the mill 50,000 person uh, festival, and it turned tragic after Travis Scott took the stage and a bunch of people tried to surge and push their way towards the front, towards the stage, that was trapping hundreds, thousands of people. And there was also rumors of someone going around and sticking people with needles, syringes, with an unknown substance in it. There are criminal investigations underway, not only in the mishandling of the security for this event, but also to find out if there was a person out there who may have incited things even further by sticking people with syringes. So I hope that I made it quite clear what we are looking at. What we're looking at right now is something that should not have happened. It did, and here we're going to discuss to see uh, exactly what could have been done differently. But first, we start with what actually occurred. What happened? What what created this level of chaos? And so we will start with this video. I hope it comes across. Davina, you're in the chat. I'm pretty sure you'll let me know if this is not coming across for you all. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit play on this.
Over to Houston now, where fire officials have confirmed at least 8 people have died and several were injured at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival last night. Authorities say about 24 people were rushed to Houston hospitals, and at least 11 of them were in cardiac arrest when they were transported. According to police, crowds began to rush toward the stage around 9:15 last night, and people passed out because they couldn't breathe. One Harris County judge said some of the victims transported were as young as 10 years old.
Our hearts are broken. I mean, people go to these events looking for a good time, a chance to unwind, to make memories. It's not the kind of event you go to where you expect to find out about fatalities.
Houston police are working to identify the victims who died and locate people who are still missing. The Astroworld Festival has been canceled for the rest of the weekend.
Okay, so that has given us uh, an overview of what happened. Of course, there's always more to it than that. Uh, we're going to go into our next little clip. I'm not going to play this full clip because it is 8 minutes long, but this is going to give us, we're going to play enough of it to give us a gist as to what else is being reported here. So let me get ready to load you up here so that you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm seeing. And maybe we'll stop for a quick discussion. If we have any comments or any concerns, anything you guys want to bring up based upon these video clips that we have watched. If not, we're going to move into the next segment. But yeah, I think that it is important that we get the official story. We're not just basing it on our own emotions and our feelings, because all of us, especially us who are parents, you feel some type of way when you find out that somebody's child didn't make it home from a concert. So we're going to go into this second clip now. As soon as I hit play. Okay, I've been told that you guys can't hear it. If you can't hear it, let me know in the chat. Bun is saying that she can't hear it. So let me know in the chat if you can hear. If not, we're going to just paraphrase here. And while I'm waiting for someone to hit me up with this response, of course, social media was instrumental in learning a lot about what happened at this event. But social media are people with their boots on the ground. Of course, they are not. Let me see. Okay, so this is the second one that you guys can hear. I wonder why. Well, yeah, social media was very instrumental in making sure that the story got out. The story was told from people who had their feet on the ground, who were actually in the mix of this crazy event that happened. Let me back up out of the video mode here. Okay, so y'all can hear me though, right? But yeah, so the people who had their feet on the ground, we're going to give you the most information. More of the information that you were going to get was going to come from them. And yeah, they reported. I had a couple of, if you guys are not hearing my stuff, I've got a couple of things that I had loaded up. So maybe, possibly, I'm going to have to just share my overview. I really hate doing that in these types of situations because of how opinionated I am. My opinion sometimes comes out, and I really, really wanted to stretch things and keep it to what the official story is before we start going into what Tasha thinks. But again, all of us are parents. I think right now in this chat, all of us are parents, and I cannot imagine, first and foremost, sending my child to a concert and this sort of thing happening. And then also, besides this thing happening, the ages of these kids. And that's where I keep saying that my opinion about that part of it is relevant to just having a discourse, but it's irrelevant to the overall story here. What I think doesn't particularly matter that much, but I do have opinions. So if you all have any thoughts, at least on that first clip, because I know that you guys couldn't hear my second one for some reason, let me know in the comments what you all thought of this first explanation as to what happened. I'm going to try another one. And if it doesn't work, so be it. So Bennett, I tried. The first one worked. I don't know why the second and third one would be any different.
Let's do it.
Here's where you see that young lady begging. She is pleading for him to stop. She's telling the cameraman, and he's trying to shoo her away. But that's probably, he probably should have listened to her, heeded her words, and got word to Travis Scott to shut up.
Security, somebody help jump in real quick.
Here's where Travis stopped the concert, asked for security to give someone a little help. But then I guess you can also see that things kept going. Even after he asked for help, the show kept going. This is the point where things probably should have stopped. People were being trampled. And so that ended that little clip. So yeah, so we saw an effort on behalf of at least one concert goer to get things to stop. We also saw an effort in fairness from Travis Scott to get some help for at least one person who was in the crowd. But I can't say for certain that due diligence was done. And the reason why I'm saying that, and again, I'm not a big fan of blaming everything on him just because he was the organizer of this event. But I learned, and I guess maybe I should hold this for the next part, but I learned that this isn't the first time there has been this type of agitation to a crowd. And okay, now I'm going to go into remember when. And I don't know if everybody here can remember when. I know that probably me and Lysandra for sure can remember when fight music. Do you remember going to the club and there's music? What is it? Lil Jon and them and all that fight music. And for some reason, every night you go to these, well, I say every night, I'm telling on myself, but every night that I went to a club, we would end the set off with some freaking fight music. And I'm like, why we ain't playing slow jams or something? Because they start, once that music starts and everybody gets all hyped, it's impossible to bring people down. Now, I'm saying this in a club, in clubs that I attended, probably had maybe 50 to 60 people. I really wasn't into big crowds. I'm still not. But imagine if you multiply that by 1,000, 50,000 people now are, and at least a pretty large faction of them are all amped up off of this music, off of whatever else they might have been doing out there. And with the rumor that there was a person going around and injecting people with an unknown drug. We know that it was a drug because at least 11 people were treated with Narcan at the festival. And Narcan is what you use to counter those types of drugs, to limit its potency, I suppose. I'm going to stop and drop down here because Lysandra had a couple comments and I want to get to them. Lysandra said, I can't believe they let their child go to that concert. His music is not for kids. That young man, his music is not for kids that young, in my opinion. And I agree. There should be no 10-year-old. Now it's playing the blame game is very dangerous. We don't know what the circumstances or situations, but I can't imagine a circumstance or a situation that would have been like me taking Quinn to go see NWA with me. That wouldn't be responsible of me. But once they're there, now we have to figure out how do we keep them safe. The kid is there now. Can't put the genie back in the bottle, but we can ensure their safety. And that was a big fail. That was a big fail at this event. Lysandra says, when they let the people in the concert, they were knocking each other over. As soon as, I mean, the concert had been going. Let's be clear. Travis Scott was the final act of this concert. So the concert had been going on all day. That was the Roddy Ricch, SZA, somebody, I don't even remember, some Yella something. I don't know these artists like that. But the final set is what got everybody amped. I think SZA even ended her set early because she got sick. There was another person who they changed his time that he was going on, so his set was short. People were really excited to see the Travis Scott portion of this event, and that is when things jumped off. So it didn't jump off as soon as this concert started. The concert had been in full swing by the time Travis Scott went on stage. But what a lot of people found were they were further away from the stage than they wanted to be when Travis Scott got on stage. So that is what when the rush started, they started to push their way towards the front, trying to, everybody wants to position themselves to be close enough, I guess, to feel the sweat drop off his body as he performed. We've all done it. I'm not going to say I ran over people to get to the front of an arena, but we've all tried to make our way towards the front when our artist came on. But this was compounded by the fact that there were so many people, and then there was so a few barriers. And by barriers, I'm not talking about those little chest high barriers that they have for when crowds are being ruly. This was an unruly crowd. Those little barriers, is once people started running, they're gonna run right over that. Even with that thing that happened a couple of weeks over at NRG, that happened a couple of weeks ago, I'm sorry. And my son was telling me that they were picking those barricades, those barriers, they were picking them up and just swinging them around. Who does that? Okay, there we go. I'm going into opinion, and I really wanted to stick to fact. We're going to talk about the victims, because that is, and I mean those who lost their lives at this event, because those are the people that we need to remember. This is so insane to me. These kids lost their lives. It's unbelievable to me. John Hilgert was a 9th grade student over here at Memorial High School right here in Houston. He was good in academics as well as athletics, and there are many people mourning his death, but also on top of that, the children that he went to school with will miss his presence there at Memorial High School in Houston. And I would put their pictures up, but then all of my flipping, you know what I can do? All of these flipping ads for all this crap that I buy just keeps popping up. And I don't particularly want that in these because it's kind of to me it would be a little disrespectful, but I will put a picture up of all of the victims as soon as I find them. Okay. Because they're really a young, very young bunch. And while I'm attempting to stall for time, I'm going to pick up Clarence's comments. There's probably little you can do with big crowds. If we couldn't keep people out of the Capitol, there was probably very little chance of keeping an unruly crowd of that size in order. But you got to blame the venue runners on this one. And I can agree to an extent, because for over how many decades have we had Lollapalooza? How many decades has Woodstock run? I'm not saying that things don't happen, but tragedies don't occur of this magnitude. And then you look at past events, because past events is specifically one that Travis Scott headlined at Lollapalooza a couple of years ago. That got wild too. And I think it could be the order in which they're running their sets. Again, there is no way in the world you put the hypest music. If you see that the crowd is crazy wild, you can't play hype music. I don't know what hype music is for these kids now. I know what it was when I was out there. And it was that Lil Jon, it was fight, what we call fight music. And because every time you hear it, a fight would occur. Every single time a fight would occur. Bond said, when buying tickets, do you have to be a certain age to get them? I'm pretty sure that it ain't too many 10 and 12 and 14-year-olds that have the disposable income to purchase a Travis Scott accompanied by Drake ticket. I just don't think. And then all the rest of those acts, the acts before, Roddy Ricch, SZA, those are names that I have heard before, even though I can admit that I don't know their music. Their parents bought the tickets. Now, the only question is, were the parents present? Because I've got an entirely different set of questions if they were not. Then we have Lysandra here agreeing with Clarence. And then Clarence got a question. Did things like this happen in the Michael Jackson days? I've never heard of anybody. I've never heard of a large number of people dying or you saw a lot of people pass out. You can remember watching people pass out at Michael Jackson concerts, and somehow people were always able to get in and get those people and then get them to safety and get them the medical help that they need. I even saw, I don't know if Davina is still here with us. When we used to be, we were young girls, we'd go over we had a festival in Gary when we were younger. We'd go there and people would wild, but it was never to this extent. This was like, they were rabid. They were like, they had, like they were just all amped up on something. So I don't remember any deaths at a Michael Jackson concert. And I'm pretty sure that Michael Jackson had the money to kind of quiet these things down, pay people off if they passed away at his concert, if it could have been any fault of his, which I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Michael Jackson, Prince, I couldn't imagine. So D, you can remember when we used to go over to Gilroy Stadium, and they used to have the concerts there, and they would bring huge acts. There would be pretty big acts. They changed it and took it out to the beach when things got a little bit bigger, and they shut down the one stadium that we used to hang out at. And when I saw, oh shoot, Gerald Levert about to come on, I'm running to the front. I can't ever recall running over anybody or a mob of people running with me. It was just different. and Davina agree with me that Michael Jackson's fans, they just passed out. Yeah, they just passed out. Here is this screen with the victims on it. Uh, and I'll share that while I read off. We started with John Hilgert, 14-year-old, and the other victims were Brianna Rodriguez, Franco Patino, Rudy Pena, Jorge Perez, and Jacob Jurenic. So I got some details on each one of these young people. We talked about John Hilgert already, and this article is accompanied by D. You didn't go to Gilroy. Who was I hanging out with then? It was so many of us that just used to mob over there. So you know, I'm not acting like holier than thou. We went there and we wilded out a bit, but we did not act anything like what we saw in the video footage of what went on over at NRG this past weekend. That was crazy. Yeah, as we're going through and reading about each one of these young people who lost their lives, we you see social media posts from friends, and it's so sad that these young people have got to along with all the rest of the foolishness that us adults, kind of this world that we're leaving for them, you got to deal with stuff like that, and it's terrible. We have 27-year-old Danish Baig, and she is said to have died after trying to save a relative during the stampede at the tragic event. Well, no, not she, he. He is said to have died after trying to save a relative. Um, there was a Facebook post that said, "My brother was killed in this horrendous Astroworld event that was managed poorly and supervised by such horrible people. My brother tried to save my sister-in-law from these horrendous acts that were being done to her. In the process, he lost his life. My brother is a beautiful soul whose smile would light up the room and put everyone before himself. Last night, he showed his courageous acts to save my sister-in-law from those horrendous things that were being done." Um, then we had Brianna Rodriguez. Brianna Rodriguez was a 16-year-old high school junior from Heights High School in Houston. According to a GoFundMe page started by her family, dancing was her passion, and she's now dancing her way to heaven's pearly gates. Gone from our sights, but never from our heart, it is with profound sadness we lay to rest our beloved Brianna. So far, $7,613 has been raised for her funeral expenses out of the $30,000 goal. And just a beautiful little girl. You'll see her down in the corner over here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but yeah, just a beautiful little girl. And then we had Franco Patino and Jacob Jurenic. Franco Patino, 21, was a native of Naperville, Illinois. So that's up there by you, Lysandra, and a graduate of Neuqua Valley High School. He attended the Astroworld Festival with his best friend, Jacob Jurenic, to celebrate the latter's birthday. Unfortunately, both of them lost their lives in the stampede. Amid the chaos and commotion, another attendee tried to save them by administering CPR, but they did not survive in the end. Sorry. Franco's brother, Cesar Patino, shared on Twitter, "I finally found the guy that helped my brother by giving him CPR to resurrect him. Thank you all for making that happen. Remember his name, Franco Patino and Jacob Jurenic. Hashtag Astroworld Fest. Hashtag Astroworld. Hashtag Travis. I wouldn't have made that happen with your amazing support." I don't know what that part means. Let's see. The next victim was Rudy Pena. Rudy Pena was a student of Laredo College in Texas. He graduated in 2018 from Nixon High School, and he was a star athlete who played football. His tragic death was mourned by his cousin Kimberly in a Facebook post. Rest in peace to my cousin. You'll be missed. I can't believe this happened to you at the Astros concert. You were always smiling and so nice and so handsome. I miss you. I love you. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh gosh. Axel Acosta was a 21-year-old student of Western Washington University. He was identified by his father as the seventh victim of the Astroworld stampede. The Yakima native was mourned by his brother Angel Acosta on social media. This is my brother Axel, but most know him as Antonio. He's the unidentifiable male from Astroworld Fest, and we're trying to put together the pieces for our family and our loss, but this is draining and unbelievable. I'm still at a loss for words and need to get to Houston to him. Ooh. Madison Dubiski, 23-year-old Madison Dubiski was another victim of the Astroworld tragedy. According to Twitter sources, she was a student at the University of Mississippi. She was working at Rhino Marketing Worldwide and had previously been employed by Houston magazines. Madison, 23, student at the University of Mississippi. We talked about that, and she was the final one that we got information on. But it's just so sad being a parent, and these people were pretty much they were babies. God, it just hurts my heart. Ooh, okay. Sometimes you should think about like, damn, am I going to be able to talk about this stuff without getting emotional? Because when you got children, all of these are your kids, and Lysandra and I, we worked with kids a lot when we were managing in restaurants. A lot of our staff was young people, and we talked earlier today about how you become more than just their boss, and you start to become like counselor. You start to learn stuff about them that it makes you feel much closer to them. Um, let's see. Clarence said another thing to ask is how can this place be this crowded? We are still in a pandemic. That to me is the ting 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 question. But you do know that we're in Houston or Texas, even though I can honestly say uh, this city in Texas has attempted to be a little bit better than the cities around them or the overall state as far as keeping the clamps down on these large events. But when you have a governor that says, okay, we're now making it illegal for you to require people to wear masks or to do any of the things that we know it has been helping to stop the spread. The governor is even against us in this. It's Texas. I'm not saying it doesn't happen anywhere else, but it's Texas. It's as much as I love living here, and I see that it is good for a whole lot of things. This politics stuff is terrible. Uh, and Davina is consoling me over here. I'm human. Yeah, but good Lord, gosh, children. So we've got this from 14 to say 27-year-olds. Mr. Brown also added, yeah, everything in Fort Worth and Dallas has been met with lawsuits. Everything has been met with lawsuits. I gotta put my glasses back on. I can't see. But yeah, it's so stupid. It's like, why do you need anybody to tell you to be safe? And just because, again, like piggybacking on Clarence's thought, just because they have this gigantic super spreader festival in the middle of this pandemic does not mean you should go. Further, You're sending children. These is babies. Uh, Davina says the government is suing Biden over the vaccine and mask mandates. Yeah, this is what we do in Texas. Davina also said it's the wild wild west. Yep, that is 100 and 110% true. If there was such a thing. Okay, so we talked about our victims, and we all have these questions. Why? How? Who? Why were these children there? Why was this many people there in the first place? Uh, how did this happen? How did this happen? Um, and then in the midst of this, we have Travis Scott, who has spoken out about the tragedy. I don't know if it's gonna work. I got a video loaded up. We're gonna see if we can get that thing to work. If not, we will we'll just read the statement. And the reason why I wanted to share this statement the way that I want to share it is because uh I know I could be a little funny, and I just want you guys to tell me what you thought of the statement if I'm able to get it to play. I don't want to put my little Tasha stank on it. I could put some stank on it, my Tasha stank, but I don't want to put that on it. I want it to be exactly what he is what he's given us. So here, I hope it comes across. Can't hear. I don't know why this thing is doing this, so I'm gonna have to tell you what he said. Now you see his body language. That's one thing we can't see. Um, he said, "I'm honestly just devastated. We're actually working right now to identify the family so we can help assist them through this tough time." He also said, let me see, anybody who, let me see, anytime I could make out, anything that's going on, I just stop my show and, help them get the help they need. He also said, and I can't find the end of his statement. The last part of his statement was that his fans mean the world to him, and that he doesn't, he couldn't believe that anything like this could happen. So I wanted you to hear inflections. You did get to at least see the body language on Travis Scott. But oh, you know what? It might be my fault that this stuff ain't coming across. Wait a minute. Silly me. I bet you I'm gonna try something that I didn't do the first time. Yep, that's what I didn't do. I'm gonna try it again. And if you guys can't hear it this time, we'll move on. Uh, Still can't hear. Okay, forget you, Travis. What my point was showing Travis's statement was that I don't think I don't think he's sincere. I think he was told by publicists, attorneys, what to say. His body language, his body language would indicate that something that he was under some type of distress. But what is he rubbing? There's no tears. There's no. I just don't feel. I don't feel like he is being 100% sincere. And I mean, as we just, you don't even have to hear it. I can hear it, but you don't even have to hear it. Look at his body language. And I don't, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. He is saying he's devastated, but, and he said he can't imagine it happening. But something similar happened uh sometime back at another one of his concerts. And if you don't believe that they're going to hold that against him in this matter, you're wrong. The fact that this is not the first time, now, no deaths occurred the first time, but the fact that this is not the first time that his concerts have gotten out of hand, to me, it says whoever your organizers are, you attach your name, you're the draw, you're the big name. Then you got a team of people who are putting this type of thing together for you, and they still, you mess up the first time and you still have the same type of things happening. That to me, it's a culture at this point. There's a problem. um I can't say it's with Live Nation. I've gone to some Live Nation events. Of course, I'm older. This is a younger crowd. The crowd skewed very young. So this is a younger crowd. What did you have? What did you have in place for this high energy crowd that what you were attracting here with this show? Because I don't know, if you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same results. And it appears that nothing changed. Uh, Mr. Brown says it's his show. Maybe they cut some corners, but that's the thing. Now I don't know. I guess I would cover my behind too if I were the city of Houston. But the mayor of the city of Houston, the police chief, said they had 1,500 officers out there prepared to do security. Now, I don't know if they were all 1,500 Travis Scott fans, and they were all pretty much interested in listening to the concert and not paying attention to their surroundings as well. But yeah, it's I guess everybody is in CYA mode, and you know what CYA mean. Everybody is in that mode right now. So these are official stories, but that doesn't mean we're getting the full truth. Um, Now we also got the story that broke today that Travis Scott is refunding everybody who had a ticket to this Astroworld event is being refunded. And I mean, that to me is I guess it could be something that you should expect anyway. But I also look at it as, okay, he's offering out this olive branch to people who have not yet filed lawsuits. And I say yet because that's one of the big parts of this story to me, is that here we are, today is Monday. This event was Friday, and the lawsuits have started. They're trickling in. You already know it's going to go down. He's going to get hit with not just 8 lawsuits, hundreds. We go, it's gonna be hundreds. You're gonna need every penny of what is her name? Kylie Jenner's $1 billion to back him with the amount of lawsuits that you can expect from this event. Of course, I'm sure there was insurance, but I can't imagine having enough insurance to not only make settlements with those people who lost loved ones, but also all of these injuries. All of these injuries are going to be part and parcel of these lawsuits. Um, this story coming up to us from Variety says Travis Scott will not perform at this weekend's Day in Vegas festival. And they might need to just cancel the whole flipping festival, not because of him, but because right now we need to figure out how to manage crowds in these large super spreader events. The headlining appearance at Las Vegas Festival grounds was scheduled for Saturday, November 13th, less than 1 week after his own Astroworld Festival took place at Houston's NRG Park, where 8 attendees died, ranging in age from 14 to 27. Sources describe Scott as too distraught to play and revealed that he will provide full refunds for all attendees who bought tickets to Astroworld. In the days after the tragedy, much has been learned about the sequence of events that led to the cardiac arrests of several concert goers, at least one stabbing of a police officer with a hypodermic needle, along with hundreds more who were injured in the 50,000 strong crowd. According to the Houston Chronicle, police and firefighters declared a mass casualty event at 9:38 p.m., 32 minutes after Scott's set began. The paper reported that promoters agreed to find a way to cut the concert short soon after the 9:38 casualty report, but the show continued until Scott ran through his planned set list and finished as scheduled at 10:15 p.m. So you mean to tell me nobody went to the stage and said, dude, you need to cut it. And I'm not trying to be funny with you need to cut it. Pull the plug. Take an intermission. I can understand you may have expected that if you cut the concert abruptly, that the crowd would have grown even more agitated. Just say I'm taking an intermission and shut it down until order was restored, or until you get the word that order could not be restored. Because this was a situation, once people started dying, you can't restore order to that one. There were so many people who were talking about feeling trapped, literally trapped. They were like sardines. They couldn't move one way or the other. If the whole group didn't move, you couldn't move. I just don't find the purpose. And it's all because the people tried to rush the stage. So I'm not saying, because this is an arena. It's not a small arena. It's huge. We know NRG Stadium is huge. And it also there have been other events there that have not gone this awry. But now my experience with NRG's concerts is my son's attempt at going to a concert a couple of weeks ago, and then this. And that's telling me that you need crowd management experts to come and assist you on how to set up and create a place that is safe for concert goers, the acts. Like he said, his girlfriend Kylie Jenner, and she's expecting. She was backstage. This thing could have gotten even crazier as far as he's concerned. So what can be done? There are crowd management experts who are chiming in on this thing, and many of them are pointing their fingers directly at Travis Scott and saying that between him and the people that he hired to organize for him, that this is solely their faults. Especially since even after the first person passed out or whatever happened, and we like, hey, let's bring Drake out. Like that wasn't gonna get the crowd even more hyped. I just I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't understand. Now, Roddy Ricch, who played ahead of Travis Scott at Astroworld, said that he pledged every penny that he earned for that festival to the families of those who died. Um, Kendrick Lamar is still going to be at that day in Vegas, and Tyler the Creator is also going to be playing there this weekend. So, they'll miss Travis Scott, but anytime you tell me Travis Scott or Kendrick Lamar, I know Kendrick Lamar, and I'm going now. Or if you even tell me Travis Scott or Tyler the Creator, I've listened to enough Tyler the Creator. My son was one of his artists, so I don't know Travis Scott's music, and I do kind of feel sorry for him, kind of, because they are going to nail his butt. He about to get hit. And let me see. Well, I was talking about the crowd control expert, crowd safety expert. I was talking about him. I don't know if nope, I didn't. There I am. I lost myself for a minute. And it's 7:52. I know, Clarence, I know you guys record on Mondays. I'm probably gonna lose you in a minute, huh? People in the crowd were the victims because they were put in a situation beyond their control by the organizers and by the people who approved that event. That is what Wertheimer said, and Wertheimer is of course, the crowd safety expert that is being quoted on this article that we are getting from Insider Magazine. Paul Wertheimer is the founder of Crowd Management Strategies, and he told Insider that the deadly surge was a preventable disaster. Houston officials said Saturday that a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old were among the dead. The crowd skewed young. The oldest person reported dead was just 27, and 5 minors were hospitalized with injuries. Officials have said some 50,000 people were at the event. I really want to get to what Wertheimer is saying. Wertheimer told Insider that the organizers had failed to properly manage the crowds that evening. Since concert goers typically assume organizers have taken appropriate safety measures, the Astroworld attendees pressed forward towards the stage. I don't even think that was in their minds, though. When you're organizing an event that size, you need to be thinking about the things that the concert goers are not thinking about. Concert goers could care less about whether they think you all have maintained proper safety protocols. But you, as the organizer, as the person with the most to lose, you are the one who should say, "Hey, we need to think of the things that the concert goers, the attendees, are not thinking of." That's on them. So I can agree with Wertheimer on that note. Uh, he said, "People want to be in front of the stage where the artists are, so they tend to move forward. And if you don't manage the crowd, people are going to be crushed. Organizers allowed the event to become overcrowded in front of the stage, which is a known danger area because once you're there, you cannot get out." Astroworld Festival, of course, did not respond to insiders' request for comment. But the police chief does still say that his department has opened a criminal investigation into this event and that the homicide and narcotics divisions are both investigating. Because again, we still got this rumor of somebody running around, some rogue person with a needle injecting people with an unknown substance. So that is also on the table, those criminal charges. Wertheimer said deadly crowd related events often don't end in criminal prosecution. Friday Surge wasn't the first time concert goers were injured at Astroworld. So this is the same festival. In 2019, at least 3 people were hospitalized after being trampled while trying to get into the festival. Now, Travis Scott, whose real name is Jock Webster, was also arrested and charged in 2015 after encouraging fans to hop over barricades at Lollapalooza. That's the music festival that's held in Chicago. So again, we've got a pattern of behavior at a Travis Scott event. So they're going to indict him based on these past events and then the tragedy that occurred right here in Houston. Wertheimer, the crowd management specialist, he goes on to say one of the reasons these disasters continue to occur is because nobody is held criminally responsible for this gross negligence. The only people who are exploited are young people, and those people are groomed to accept that in pop culture, they're groomed to accept guilt for what happens, even if it's not their fault. So I agree that you should be thinking of every contingency when you are putting on an event this size, and you definitely don't want to be hyping people up to bounce, jumping over barricades, and the such. Wertheimer even suggested that artists like Scott bear some responsibility for the safety of their concerts. Nobody wants anybody to die at a concert, but people create an environment in which people can die, and that includes the artists. Um, so I guess one of Travis Scott's songs is Yosemite. Never heard of it. He issued a statement on Saturday saying that he's absolutely devastated. We talked about his statement a little bit ago, earlier in the hour, and he is going to attempt to help the Houston community heal with support to the families and those people who were injured. Um, Again, Astroworld organizers echoed similar sentiments, saying that they were focused on supporting local officials. Uh, and the footage, just again, very difficult to watch. There was an ICU nurse. Her name was Madeline Eskins. She was attending the event, and she actually passed out. Something happened to her, but when she came to, she started to assist the medics and with some other patients because she said those medics were not equipped to do the job that needed to be done for these victims. So again, now you have an event where you got 50,000 people. You invited them. You knew they were coming. You counted the receipts. You knew how much money you made. You know how many people was coming. You've got security. so many police officers. You got these little flimsy barricades that's supposed to hold people back, and you've got your medics. Why do you have medics who are not equipped to provide this type of assistance? It's a situation that can occur at any time during any event that a person would need a specialized assistance if they went into a cardiac arrest, like a lot of these people did, or if they were trampled and needed CPR, and they needed it on a broad scale, not just one person needing CPR, but many people needing CPR. You would think that when you organize an event like this, that the people in the crowd that just happen to be doctors and nurses, that yes, they're going to jump into action because that is within the nature of a person who is that type of caregiver. But they should not be, they should not have to, they should not jump into action and have to take over for your medics because they were poorly trained or poorly equipped to handle exactly what went on at this event. To me, that is negligent. Festival goers said they struggled to breathe and that the crew and security ignored their cries for help. So if security and the crew ignored their cries for help, good Lord, it's just starting to, and I mean, again, with a grain of salt, because this is still a very fluid situation. You're hearing an awful lot because that's the way that this world runs right now. You're going to hear an awful lot from social media before you hear from anywhere else. I try to listen to what I keep my ear to the ground on social media, but also look for these official stories, because somewhere in between all of these statements is the truth. The truth is going to be buried right in the middle of the story. We're not going to get it from either side. People are going to tell their version of the truth, and while it might be their truth, it might not be the truth. If you get what I'm saying. Now, there's one young lady named Jennifer Hernandez who was at the event, and she said she felt like she was having a panic attack. Her heart kept going fast. She couldn't breathe, and the security for the event didn't really do much. Now, I don't know. They could have gotten help for these people. They didn't, according to the people, and that to me is a problem. It's a big problem. So moving forward, how is this going to be an avoidable situation? How do you go from here, learning something to take into the next big festival? Because we know the festivals ain't gonna stop. You know that they're not going to ban festivals. Festivals are a huge part of many cities' economies. Uh, Besides the fact that, even in a pandemic, people are still looking for an outlet to be entertained. So what can we do differently moving forward? Well, to me, it's going to start with the preparation of going before you even get to this arena. As a concert attendee, uh, you need to have in your mind all the exits, because I'm going to tell you just like this. You push me forward towards the stage. I have nowhere to go. Probably the best thing to do would be to jump on the stage. If it's between your life and jumping up on the stage, I think maybe we should jump up on the stage. I'm not going to blame uh, anyone for what happened to them. That how this tragedy could occur, but I am going to say that you need to know your exit strategies. You need to have an exit strategy. You don't need to be right up at the stage. If you have young people going to these events, you need to make sure that you have positioned them in such a way that they can escape safely. Because when it's a crowd of adults running and pushing and slamming into each other, the last thing they're looking for is a 10-year-old. Not saying that they're right for running and pushing and shoving and stampeding. Not saying that they're right for doing that, but I am saying that if they are doing that, if there's even the possibility of them doing that, we need to look out for the little people. You got too many 10-year-old. You got too many little people at this festival with these grown ass people who don't know how to act. I'm sorry. At the end of it all, we can't bring those people back. We can't take back and reverse what happened. We're moving forward from there. But even though we have heard this crisis or this crowd management expert say, hey, the organizers need to make sure that they are putting on a safe event, we have our own personal responsibility to ourselves. And our personal responsibility is, I walked in here alive. My plan is to walk out alive. What can I do to put myself in the best position for that thing to happen? If that means not even going to the event, don't go to the event. If that means staying on the outsides of the event, not going towards the middle, stay on the outsides. If that means not having the best view of the artist, don't have the best view. Bring you a pair of binoculars or something. But think of your own safety just in case nobody else is. If they're not thinking about your safety, I do believe that you have a responsibility to yourself. And if you take your children there, you've got a even bigger responsibility to them to make sure they are safe. And trying to push your way up to the front of a Travis Scott concert is not my idea of making things safe for yourself or for the young people. So I think I've said what I said. uh, I'm going to wait to see if anybody has any comments, anything that they want to add to my little diatribe that I just went through. I just wanted to make sure that moving forward, we're going to have plenty of opinions on this situation, but I also wanted to make sure that we got some of the facts out. We got the official story, and everybody who's heard a story that gets a little bit added to it every time you hear it, and until we get to the point where this story ain't nowhere near the first story, it's not true anymore. So if I got a microphone and a camera, it's my responsibility to make sure that before we start going into conjecture and all the things that we think, I think that we should, it from the beginning, start with the truth and then work our way to what we think our opinions are. I see you, Bun. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like I've got anybody who wants to add to the conversation. I know I've got a couple of friends who had to bounce a little early in this one because nobody was really expecting me to get on here today. I just decided I was going to speak on this subject to get the truth as far as we know it right now. To get that out, I will continue to add to this discourse as more information comes available. I didn't really talk about the lawsuits. We know that at least one has been filed at this point. Travis Scott is facing at least one lawsuit, and as far as I could tell, and I want to get to the article before I make this statement here. As far as I could tell, the person who filed the first original Yeah, D, I see you, and I agree. Um, this first original lawsuit that's coming out of this tragedy is against Travis Scott, Drake, and Live Nation. And that lawsuit is being filed by a Texas man who is suing festival backer Travis Scott, recording artist Drake, and show producer Live Nation. Christian Paredes, 23, from Austin, Texas, filed the complaint as reported by DailyMail.com on Sunday. The suit accuses the rappers, Live Nation Entertainment, and Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation of negligence. He is represented by Thomas J. Henry. The suit is asking for more than $1 million and claims the rappers incited the crowd into actions that left him severely injured. The suit contends that the Drake and Travis Scott continued to perform as the crowd grew increasingly out of control. Paredes claims that he was in front of the general admission section with a metal barrier separating him from the VIP section. He claims he suffered bodily injuries in the mayhem, and he is also seeking medical expenses. Now, when you start to talk about this young man asking for $1 million, let's go first. He could have asked for more. So this is a low figure to me. Could ask for more, depending on the severity of his injuries, which were not disclosed in this article. So he could have asked for more. $1 million plus medical expenses. You go ahead and multiply that by, say, a couple hundred. So now we're looking at $200-300 million from people who were just injured. And you think about how much more we're going to be looking at from people who lost their lives. So we got $200-300 million in lawsuits that you can almost expect just from the injured. And then you have to start assigning a value to a person's life. And we're talking about a person from the ages of 14 to the ages of 27 who their earning potential, all of the things that could have been with those people will be figured into a settlement or the lawsuit for damages against Travis Scott, potentially Drake, and potentially, and of course, the show producer Live Nation. So that's it. I don't have nothing else. We got some lawsuits coming. We got some personal responsibility that we, as the general public, need to take. Some personal responsibility. It is not all their fault. We do need to take our own safety in our own hands. But at the same time, we need to know that bridging the gap from the things that I could even reasonably conceive of as a concert attendee, that you all, as the concert organizers, are thinking of the things that we don't think of as attendees. Still got to make sure we're safe. But at the same time, there is some responsibility on the organizers. And yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes very closely on what is happening with this case as it moves forward, because it is a what is the words that I'm looking for? Excuse me, I'm sorry. That was nasty. A case study. It's a case study in how to improperly manage anything. Yeah. I see you back, Miss Taylor. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to add to this before we close out? I'd like to invite you back here. I'm going to be doing a midweek meltdown this week, Wednesday, because I will not be doing Film Review Friday this week. There's no big films coming out. I think maybe maybe Red Notice, but I can cover that anytime. But yeah, no big releases are happening this week. So we're gonna skip Film Review Friday for the first time since I started this thing. So get a Friday off. But we will be back here. Of course, we're doing the midweek meltdown. That is Wednesday at 7 p.m. There are some stories that came out, one of which concerned The Rock and Vin Diesel. The other stories talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. Uh, some big some big stories are brewing in Hollywood, and I will be talking about all of those with you if you are joining me on Wednesday. If you're not, the next time you'll see me is Saturday. So got Wednesday coming. Then the next time is for the weekly wrap up on Saturdays at 3 p.m. So hopefully I see you before then. Hopefully you hang out with me on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central for the midweek meltdown. If not, I've got nothing else. I send my deepest condolences to all of those who were affected, the families. I send my thoughts to those people who were injured, and for those people who were in attendance of this Astroworld Festival who might be feeling that survivor's guilt, might be wondering how the hell did I get out of here? Uh, and survivor's guilt is real, and it is also something that is a mental health uh, situation, and that might be another thing that you look into when you start to think about lawsuits. But yeah, I hope the best for Travis Scott and Drake, Live Nation, and a lot of the things that is going to happen moving forward in the events industry. Um, yeah, I'm sending my well wishes to them as well because it's just starting for them. The people who are burying their loved ones and who are receiving medical attention, they can start to move on to the next phase of planning. But Travis Scott, Drake, this ain't about to end no time soon for y'all are about to be under in the ringer for a while. Okay, and that's it. That's all. I've had I guess an informative time. I wouldn't call this fun because it's not fun talking about these types of subjects, but passing on information, even though there were some hiccups in the stream today, I think we got the information out there in a proper way. And with all that being said, I've got nothing else. I guess I pretty much see you when I see you. Hopefully, me seeing you will be Wednesday here. Peace.